I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, seal my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. They don't want it when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know this because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem, man. Perfect, let them watch me. Elevating, got them nauseous. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the option. Woo! Watch how I get ahead. Watch how I get ahead. Watch how I get ahead.
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. I don't know what's going on. I mean, StreamYard's been acting weird lately. Like my countdown was going, but it wasn't showing up for me. So I don't know what was going on there, but glad to be back here. Had a week off last week, a much needed week off. But let me know if you can hear me. StreamYard's being a little weird, so hopefully you can. I think we're good. So I don't know what happened, but yeah, hopefully StreamYard gets it together. You know, $25 a month. I wish it would work correctly, but in the chat, let me know if you can hear me, and then we will get started. Hopefully you can hear me. But yeah, good card. Really good card. I have 7 bets. There you go. Thank you, guys. I have 7 bets. I did have 8. I did have a bet on the Rosenstruck fight. We did lose the Rosenstruck fight, which sucks. I was really looking forward to that fight. Wish they would have, lost like a different fight. I don't know, a couple different fights you could take off. But that was a fight I was looking forward to. But before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe here to the channel. I am streaming on DFS by the Numbers, and I'm also streaming on the MMA Engine. The plan, if you haven't heard yet, is I'm eventually going to go full-time with this show on the MMA Engine channel. So if you guys are wondering in a couple weeks, where is the show? It's going to be on the MMA Engine Fridays, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. I put the link in the description to the MMA Engine channel. We're doing a ton of content over there, including a brand new show that we started on Thursday. It's called Probability, where me and Uncle Weezy just go fight by fight. And we talked at it. We talked stats, and I really do enjoy it. We talk props. It was a very fun show, and a lot of people seemed to really like it. So glad about that. And yeah, other than that, I say we shout the chat and get started. Yeah, StreamYard threw me off a little bit, but it looks like we're good to go. Technology, gotta love it. Mike, first one in the chat. What's up, Brady? Let's get it, my guy. Looking for a big payday. That is the plan. I'm not going to have a ton of action on this card, but hopefully it is a profitable night. That is always the goal. Mushroom in the chat. Sup, Brady? The UFC is finally back. Felt like forever. Can't wait for some violence. Yeah, it did feel like forever. It was nice to have the week off, but I'll be honest, a couple days into the week off, I was like, okay, I can't take this anymore. I didn't know what to do. I was bored. So I'm really glad we're back. Eric saying Arce looked like crap today on the scales. Santos is a good look for plus money. I will talk about that very soon here. And we'll talk about Arce, how he did look, and it was not great. We got Chris saying, oi, what is up, Chris? How you doing? I'm thinking of going heavy on Kamzat, a plus 150 inside round 1, minus 110, under 1.5, and then also minus 210 a sub or KO. Want to know optimal strategy. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that fight. I do have my biggest bet of the night on that very fight. John saying, Brady, stop teasing. Start at 6. I couldn't quite make it at 6 there, John. My bad. We got John. Let's go, Brady. Let's go, John. We got Austin in the chat. What is up, Austin? We got Lou saying our graphics department was hard at work this week, and you are 100% right. We're always hard at work. You know that, Lou. Debo saying, let's go. Is Linnick getting his 60th win tomorrow? We'll definitely talk about that one. I cannot wait for that fight. Somebody will have to wake up a Linnick and tell him he lost. Oh, no. You think he gets knocked out? A Linnick decision. That would be insane. Let's go, Brady. We should win this Saturday. That is the goal. We got Bill in the chat as well. You guys are killing the chat room. I do appreciate it. Brady the Goat, what is up, hype? We got the General in the chat as well. We got Monk, who just got off a show with Lou on the MMA Engine. I did sit through the show, and I really enjoyed that. Shout out to Monk as well. I have a 15-team parlay that pays $21,000. Well, hopefully hit that. That's a big payday there, Adam, with the bomb. I like it. Going to see if Brady finally goes for a big parlay. Not going for a big one, but I do have a parlay. It's my third parlay of the year. And Young saying, Brady, you better move. You might get knocked out. I like it. Andy, what is up, Andy? Hello, Brady. Very glad to join your stream once again. I'm glad that you can join. We got David in the chat as well. We got Jay in the chat. And then everybody's saying they can hear me, which is awesome. Do you have a favorite fighter to bet on? My favorite fighters to bet on are, the guys or girls that always win. Like, I like betting on like the Shevchenkos, like the John Joneses, guys like that. Other than that, I just bet, go matchup by matchup, let's go. Need a big payday. That is the goal. Does Zombie have a chance? So hard to pick a lineups on DraftKings. No, I don't really think. I think he's knockout or bust. What's up, Samuel? All right, let's get started. We have the first fight of the night. My order is not entirely correct, but it's pretty close. We have the first fight of the night, and it's going to be Julio Arce going against Daniel Santos, the newcomer, and this should be a very fun fight. We have Julio Arce, who is minus 175, and Daniel Santos, who is plus 150. This is a kind of a tough fight to call because there's not a lot of info about Daniel Santos. I mean, you can go back and watch some of his fights, and I was actually really impressed with what I saw from Santos. A lot of spinning back kicks to the body, knockouts. He has a lot of power. He has not fought the best competition, and I guess the biggest thing is he's taken 2 years off, 2 years and 4 months since the last time we saw Santos. He's training at a good gym. He's at the same gym as Charles Oliveira. I think that's good. So he could show up and look really good. He can show up and, level up. 2 years off, 2 years and 4 months off as a 25-year-old training with good guys. I mean, that's really going to help your game. It certainly could. So I can't play Arce minus 175. And somebody said it earlier in the chat, like Arce looked very bad. He really tried to cut the weight. When fighters miss weight, sometimes you can see, they didn't really try to get the weight down. But there's other times where you see that, they kind of said, F it, like hey, Hansen. Like, she looked good on the scales, but Julio Arce, he tried to make the weight, which respected that, but he did not look good at all. So, people in the chat saying Arce did look bad on the scales, and I agree. So this is I don't know. I feel like it could be a very close fight. I'm going to pick Arce because he's fought the better competition. He's fought really good guys in the UFC. He's beaten good guys like Dan Ige, Andre Ewell, guys like that. And he's been more active as well. But I would not be surprised if Daniel Santos came in here in his debut and made the upset. So I'm not touching Arce. From a DraftKings perspective, 9K is a lot for Arce here. If anything, I'm taking some shots on the newcomer and Daniel Santos. And on top of that, the weight cut for Arce did not look great. So if anything, it's probably a dog or pass situation. No bet here for me on the first fight of the night, but I think it's going to be a very exciting one. Santos looks like a very exciting fighter, and I can't wait to see him make his debut. Kamzat versus Burns. Fight doesn't go to decision lock. I do like that play. We have Lego saying Arce looked terrible on the skills, and yeah, I think he looked pretty bad as well. Arce still way to go. This is not a newcomer to win. I don't know. We just don't know a lot about him. 2 years off. What is he going to look like? But yeah, the weight cut does not look great. We got the general taking notes there. Let's keep moving on. We have the next fight. We have Piera Rodriguez going against Kay Hansen. Kay Hansen also missed weight. I didn't think she looked horrible on the scales or anything like that, but kind of concerning because, where is her head at? I really question her motivation. She has the OnlyFans thing going on outside the UFC, and is she, does she really want to do this? I mean, it just does not look like she's taking this serious. And maybe she is. Maybe I'm wrong, but she should be making weight. I mean, she's like small. She's small for 115. I know she fought at 125 her last fight. And she missed weight by like 2 pounds today. Just not a great look. So I think Piera Rodriguez, I was picking her prior to the weigh-ins. I'm, still picking Rodriguez. I'm not betting on this fight. I really do not want to, but if you got Rodriguez last week, she was like plus 130. You beat a ton of line movement there. I'm going to say Rodriguez wins. I like her striking. I like her power. I like her takedown defense. I like her get-up game. She seemed very strong, very physical, but this is a close fight. If Hansen gets it down to the match, she's going to be live for a submission. Hansen's grappling is really good, but again, I don't know where her head's at. I don't know where her motivation's at. and I'm trying to stay away from fights like these because they seem to always burn me one way or another. So not betting on this one. As far as DraftKings, if anything, it's maybe some shots on Hansen. I don't think anybody's going to play this fight. Hansen is very dangerous with their submission game, but it's probably going to be a pass for the most part. I don't want to put any money on this fight. But the pick for me is Rodriguez. Rodriguez by decision, but I just can't bet it. Let's check out the chat here. We have a question. What about Arce's losses? Let's take a look at Arce's losses in the UFC. Song Yadong was his last loss. He got knocked out. He lost by Hakeem Dawodu by a split decision, and then he lost to Shaman Marias by split decision as well. So not terrible losses, right? She's an OnlyFans girl, and she seems like it, right? Appreciate that, Ryan. Do you think the weight cut is good or bad for Hansen? It could be good. It could be bad. I really don't know. Maybe it could help her. I mean, she's going to have extra weight. Maybe it can help her. It doesn't look like she really killed herself to get down. So I don't know. But I just question the motivation is the only thing I'd be worried about with Hansen. But I'm not betting this fight. I see a lot of people betting this fight and going really heavy on it. But these are fights I want to stay far, far away from. But we can keep moving on to a very exciting fight. This is Andy saying Rodriguez KO. It's possible. She has a lot of power. Hansen's never been knocked out. Rodriguez by KO is what? Rodriguez KO looks like it's plus 475. That's not terrible, right? She does have a lot of power. Obviously, I don't mind that. Do you personally have Kay Hansen's OnlyFans? Absolutely not. Who was it? I think it was Lou that said it's like $30 a month. Like, oh my gosh, no, I would not do that. And I did miss a dono earlier, Zayed. I appreciate you. Glad I can go back and shout you out there. Appreciate you, Zayed, always supporting in here. It does mean a lot. Fremd looked massive. Yeah, the dude's 6'4", huge for the division. Absolutely huge for the division. And he was towering over Anthony Hernandez. So I do have a bet here. I have my first bet, and you guys know me by now, hopefully. I'm trying to stay away from the parlays. It's something that really killed me last year. I did great with it a couple years ago, but it really killed me last year. This year, I'm 1-1 on parlays. I'm really trying to pick my spots on them. I know people love them, but this is going to be my first parlay piece of the night. I did parlay the under 2.5 here. I think, I parlayed it at minus 325. It's currently right around there. I just don't see this fight, going far really at all. I mean, Anthony Hernandez, you take a look at his UFC career, even on the Contender Series against Jordan Wright, he's never seen the third round, I think 5 or 6 fights, and you can see why. I mean, go watch this guy fight. This guy is an absolute wars. This guy is a fan favorite to watch. I mean, his fights are very exciting. And then you have Josh Fremd, who has a ton of power. I went and watched some fights of Josh Fremd, and I don't remember the last time I was my jaw dropped whenever I saw him land these knees. I forget he was fighting. He'd land these knees to this guy's face, and you could hear it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's brutal. It was the most brutal thing I've seen. Knees to the face. The guy's head was cut open. Took him a couple minutes to get up. Josh Fremd has power. Another fight I watched, Josh Fremd put somebody out. He landed face down, and the dude didn't get up for a couple minutes. So, Fremd is no joke in terms of the power, but it's a tough ask coming in here on short notice against a guy like Hernandez. Hernandez is going to put on a pace that I really don't think Fremd is going to keep up with. If you like Fremd, I think he wins in the first round if he does, but I'm kind of more so on the side that Anthony Hernandez weathers the early storm and takes over as the fight goes on, drowns Fremd and finishes him late in the first round, maybe the second round, but I don't see this getting far. I don't hate the under 2.5. I really wanted to play the fight doesn't get the decision, but the odds makers are all over it. The best price you can get is minus 400 on Bet Online. I saw minus 750 on FanDuel Sportsbook, and you can see why. Both these guys are great finishers. They've been finished in 3 of their 4 losses. This is going to be a war. It's going to be a banger. And this is probably my favorite fight on the prelims. This is a sleeper fight. I cannot wait for this. But give me Hernandez, second round sub. I think it's a war for as long as it lasts. I love Hernandez on DraftKings, 8,700. I love this fight in general on DraftKings. Fremd, 7,500. If he wins, I really feel like on short notice, it's going to be in that first round. So play on both sides in the DraftKings, mostly on Hernandez, though. But under 2.5, I have that parlayed with something else we'll talk about in a second. But I do like the under 2.5 as a parlay piece. Fight doesn't go as a parlay piece. I think this fight does finish more often than not. It's going to be a very, very fun fight, and I'm looking forward to it. Pete saying no bet on this. Yeah, I like the under 2.5. Even Hernandez, inside the distance, minus 125, I don't think is the worst look in the world. So Fluffy smoking a blunt before the fight for sure. Massive stoner, love it. There you go. Maybe he is. Puffy Hernandez, I like it. Get Dark Choked. Hello, everyone. Hello, how you doing? Anybody think Korean Zombie has a chance? We'll talk about that. Probably not, but we'll talk about it. See if I missed anything. Will you tell us your bet? I always tell you my bets. Yes, of course. Of course. I have that in a parlay, and then I'll talk about my next bet in a second. After Hernandez knocks him out, maybe they can be friends. I hope so. I hope so. You'd like to see it. But we'll move on to the next fight, and we have Alexia Oleinik going against Jared Vanderaa. And yeah, this fight's pretty hilarious. I mean, I don't know. It seems like every Oleinik fight is just like so awkward to break down. This guy's just an awkward fighter, and so is Jared Vanderaa. We have 8,100 apiece on DraftKings. Looks like we have Vanderaa now minus 125 and Oleinik plus 105. Oleinik is 44 and a half years old. I believe he turns 45 in June. I think our birthdays are pretty similar apart, but yeah, he's old. I mean, he's old. I think he's the oldest fighter on the roster. I can't think of an older one, now that Renault's gone. He's the oldest fighter on the roster, but I really do think this is such a winnable matchup for old man Oleinik. You take a look at Jared Vanderaa. He has a 20% takedown defense. And then apparently he's a black belt in BJJ. I saw that a couple fights ago. I went to his Instagram. I saw he had a black belt. I was shocked. I was extremely shocked because you watch this guy. This guy's a horrible ground game. He's been submitted twice outside of the UFC, and these were not, submission losses from like 2010, 2011. These were like 2018, 2017, around there, like somewhat recent. So I don't like his ground game. 20% takedown defense in the UFC. Spivak was able to get him down easily, Romanov as well. And, taking a look at Oleinik, his wrestling's not as bad as I really thought. I mean, he has about a 47% takedown accuracy. He's going to go for takedowns, and he has unique ways of getting it down to the mat. He can take your back standing. He kind of dragged Spivak down to the mat even and almost submitted him in that first round. He can take you down. And, I just don't think Vanderaa is going to pose many problems in terms of the takedown defense. With that said, with Oleinik, it's always, round one or bust for the most part. I know he submitted Maurice Green a couple years back. I know he, recently went to won a decision against Werdum as well. So I don't want to say he's entirely round one or bust, but I think if Oleinik does win, it is probably in that first round. Vanderaa is coming in on short notice. I did not like what I saw from Vanderaa at the weigh-ins. He does not look prepared for this fight. But, it could be enough to beat a 44-year-old Oleinik. I just think Oleinik gets him down early. I think he submits him. I think, black belt or not, I think Oleinik is very, very dangerous on the mat. I think he submits Jared Vanderaa, and I do have a half unit bet on Oleinik to win by submission at plus 165. The price is right around there still. I think he submits Vanderaa in the first round. If it does get out of the first round, it's going to be very interesting, but I just think Oleinik's going to have multiple opportunities here and to win by submission. I think it's such a winnable matchup for old man Oleinik here. We take a look at who is knocking out old man Oleinik, and you're going to be surprised by some of these names. Who's knocking out old man Oleinik? Well, Chris Dawkins, that guy has a ton of power. Derek Lewis, that guy hits hard, right? Walt Harris hits pretty hard. Overeem, Curtis Blades, and that's it. I'll read them again. Curtis Blades, Overeem, Walt Harris, Derek Lewis, Chris Dawkins. Jared Vanderaa is none of those guys. So I know it's a weird fight. It's a sketchy fight, but I just feel like it's a really winnable fight for Oleinik. Half unit on the sub. I feel like if he wins, he's not going to win a decision. He's not going to knock out Vanderaa. I don't hate the plus 165 there. Mushroom played the Oleinik by decision. Yeah, Oleinik, that would honestly surprise me, but he did win a decision against Werdum, and that had to be around like plus 1,000, but that is the only decision he has won in his UFC career. So anything could happen, but that would be a huge hit, Mushroom. Vanderaa came out very stiff at the weigh-ins. Yeah, he didn't look good. He didn't look right. Did not look prepared. And not moving his head much. Hopefully, Oleinik will give him a nice neck adjustment. I like it. On the other side, Oleinik always comes out with his head tilted down. That is true. 8,100 for these fighters feels high, but I don't see points here. All empty tanks. If there's a first round finish, you're gonna see some points there, and I kind of think Oleinik is live for that. Vanderaa first round a Darce choke with ease. If Vanderaa gets a first round Darce choke, I will send you $100, Melon. Oleinik decision is a very strange bet. Yes, it's I don't think it's very likely, but if it hits, it's a big hit. 15-team parlay. There you go. Aljo Yan over 1.5 a lock. Nothing's a lock, but I do like that. Fight doesn't go to decision. It looks nice. It does look nice and feel nice until you see the price tag, minus 375. So you can't really play that. But yeah, I think this fight does finish. Candera is going to catch him. Could happen. It's heavyweight. Bandera has CTE already. Yes, he does. A fight to start round 2, minus 120. Yeah, I see that's a very popular bet. I don't know. I mean, it probably hits, but you're going to be sweating a lot. Bandera, the better minute winner. Yes, he is, unless he slips into a Linux hairy arms. That is very true. But yeah, it should be a fun fight. I'm actually looking forward to this fight, as weird as it is. We'll keep moving on. We have Vince Pichel, Mark Madsen. I know this is on the main card, but we'll talk about it now. We have Vince Pichel around minus 115, Mark Madsen around minus 105. So I put a tweet out earlier. I said, I do not want to wager on this fight until I heard Paul Shaughnessy's analysis. Apparently, he is the Pichel whisperer. He's like 9-0 or 10-0 in picking Pichel fights. And I was leaning Madsen, was thinking about betting it, and then I guess Shaughnessy's on Pichel. So I don't want to go against the Pichel whisperer, but I do think Madsen wins this in all honesty. I think he can win those first 2 rounds. I think the third round will be very sketchy. The money line, it's not minus 105. I kind of missed a boat there. I saw him like minus 130 earlier in the week. I wouldn't have hate that, but this is a very close fight. I do actually have a bet on this fight, though, and it is not on the Madsen side. I have Vince Pichel to win in round 3 plus 1,600 for a quarter unit small play there. The reason being is I think Madsen wins the first round at a very high clip. I think the second round, I think Madsen wins that second round. I think it could get iffy later in that second round. And then in the third round, I just don't think Madsen's going to have much. We saw in the Hubbard fight where Madsen was able to take down Hubbard easily the first, second round. Third round came around. This guy was, very, very tired. And, Hubbard was close to getting him out of there. He really was. He landed a huge knee. I don't know how, Madsen ate it, but, Hubbard had a lot of opportunities. And I think Pichel is going to have a lot of opportunities. Pichel has a great gas tank. And Pichel on paper has a horrendous takedown defense, 25, 26%. He absolutely is going to be taken down. But what Pichel does is when he gets taken down, he gets right back up. So I think Madsen has a lot of success early, but I think he slows down as the fight goes on. And whether he loses in that third round or not, I think plus 1,600 for Pichel in round 3. I think there's going to be some opportunities there for sure. So I took a quarter unit stab there. The pick is Madsen. The pick is Madsen by decision. I know Eric bets fight. Shout out to Eric. He's going to be on the show tomorrow with us. I saw him bet the draw on this fight, which it actually makes a lot of sense. Like I could see Madsen winning the first 2 rounds and then Pichel with a 10-8. Like even Austin Hubbard, like he could have been close to a 10-8. Like it would not shock me if Pichel was able to get a 10-8 in that third round draw and then Eric cashes his plus 6,600 or whatever. So I actually think that's on the table. I think the split decision is on the table. I'm not sure what the odds are on that. I saw Madsen by split is like plus 1,000. But, what are the judges going to favor more? Are they going to favor the takedowns with no damage of Madsen, not much control? Or are they going to favor the strike of Pichel? Maybe one judge favors this more, one judge favors that more. Split decision, right? So I think there's a couple of different ways to play this. I think this probably does go to decision unless there's like a late stoppage from Pichel. But it's a very interesting fight. It's a very intriguing fight. I'm going to pick Madsen to win. I love Madsen on DraftKings, 7,800. One of my favorite dogs, takedown upside. And if he wins, he's going to put up a great score. So great fight. Looking forward to it. Give me Madsen. But I think there's a couple interesting ways to bet this. And but I do have a quarter unit stab on that Pichel round 3. Thomas saying, oh, you got to sprinkle the draw. I mean, plus 6,600. Put $5 on it. If you hit it, I mean, that's huge, right? That is huge. Madsen by decision. Yeah, I'm leaning Madsen by decision as well. Pichel round 3 plus 1,000. I think you can get it on DraftKings right now plus 1,400. Pichel round there. Thomas is on it. Pichel round 3 plus 1,400. Let's get it. I like it. I think there's gonna be opportunities. A couple weight missers. Yeah, we touched on those weight missers. Vince round 3. There you go. Madsen on point. Yep. That kind of surprised me. The Madsen by decision is like plus 275. It's very juicy. Very juicy. Madsen, a lot of control time. I think for DK points and tons of takedowns. Wild draw bet, great call. Yeah, shout out to Eric for that one. It's on the table, right? It's definitely on the table. Plus 8,000 on the draw. Plus 8,000. Don't bet against the Danes. I agree. They're tough. They're tough, Wheezy. Wheezy, what do you think about that draw as well? plus 8,000 for the draw. There you go. Aljo by sub, interesting. Giannis too emotionally invested. First fight, kept his cool. Aljo wants him to go forward so we can grapple. Interesting take. Yeah, Aljo by sub is a pretty interesting call. Round 3 to start is pretty much a given. Yeah, the over 2.5 is solid. It's like minus 200 though. The fight starts round 3 is probably like minus 250, something like that. So maybe parlayable. And we just a draw. Yeah, same here. And that, especially ones that make sense and that actually makes sense. So we'll talk about that more. We'll talk about a couple draw bets on best bet tomorrow as well. All right, we have the next fight. We have Mike Malott going against Mickey Gall. I do have a bet here. So there were 3 fights that I did research last week. I tried my best to not do a ton of work last week, kind of take a mental week off. I mean, 8 weeks of MMA, it really catches up to you. And I was starting to feel it at the last week. And there were 3 fights I looked into: the Chimaev fight, the Rosenstruck fight, which is off now, which sucks. And then this fight, because some lines really stuck out on the fight doesn't go to decision. And this was one of them. So they had the fight doesn't go to decision last week at minus 170. And that really stuck out. I looked into it and I love that bet at that number. I have 1.7 units on it to win 1. I didn't want to go crazy on it because there are a lot of unknowns. This is a very weird fight, especially from the Malott side. Like, not a ton of information on this guy, not a ton of footage on this guy, and the footage that you do see, it lasts for like a couple minutes. But from what I do see, is very dangerous. And the reason why I like this bet, especially at that number, you got to love it at that number. Now it's getting a little iffy. I see a under 2.5 rounds, a minus 175. I still like that. But looks like the fight doesn't go is like minus 240. Yeah, minus 260 now. So it's been getting smashed all week. And you can see why. You take a look at both these guys. They have a combined 1 win. 20 fights, a combined 1 win that has went over 1.5 rounds. They have a combined 2 wins that went outside the first round. Like, when these guys win, they finish fights in the first round. Malott has finished all of his fights in the first round. Gall has finished, I believe, all but 1 or 2 in the first round. So when these guys win, they finish in the first round. So both guys have power. Malott has power. I've seen him drop guys. Mickey Gall has power. We saw him drop Jordan Williams twice. And then both guys are extremely dangerous black belts. So both guys are dangerous on the feet. They're dangerous on the mat. And both guys, they can be finished. We see that Gall's been knocked out by Diego Sanchez, got drowned in that second round. Sanchez is able to finish him there. Again, Diego Sanchez. And then Malott, he's been knocked out as well. So both guys are dangerous everywhere. Both guys can be finished. Both guys have questionable gas tanks. I thought the minus 170 was just off. So minus 260, it feels about right there. I wouldn't touch it at minus 260, but if you have access to like the under 2.5 at minus 175, I think it's on DraftKings or Bovada. I think the under 2.5 is a good look. Even like the under 1.5 is not the worst look in the world. Again, in the combined 20 fights, only one of these guys' wins have went over 1.5 rounds. But I do like the under 2.5 a little bit more. So 1.7 units, minus 170 fight doesn't go. I think is a very interesting fight on DK. I don't think many people are going to play it. But again, both guys are dangerous. Malott, 100% finish rate. Gall, 86% finish rate. I think somebody gets finished here. As far as a pick goes, I see a lot of people taking the dog shot on Gall. It makes sense. We know more about him. He's fought the better competition, but I don't know. I feel like Malott should win this fight. I'm going to say he kind of wins in that second round. It's a tough fight. It's a really tough fight. You just don't know much about him. I was able to watch like 4 or 5 fights of Malott, but those 4 or 5 fights totaled like 5 minutes. And you can go back and watch his draw that he had back in like 2014, 2015, but that's like 6-7 years ago. Doesn't really tell you much. So it's a really weird fight, but minus 170 fight doesn't go. I don't hate that. And again, I don't hate the under 2.5 rounds. I see violence here. See what you guys are saying in the chat. I think it's gonna be a good fight though. I'm looking forward to seeing the debut of Malott. It should be a very fun fight. Let's see what we got here. Under by sub is the only way I see him winning the fight. Well, if that's the only way, I don't know if he has a great chance, and the odds are telling us that as well. Chimaev, Volk, Jan, parlay getting close to even money again. Might have to hammer that. Yeah, I don't see either 3 winning or losing. Yeah, Brady violence. I like it. Mickey Gall is the best underdog on the card, in my opinion. Gall by sub. Yeah, I think if Gall wins, I think it's going to be early in that first round. Gall is very dangerous, but we'll have to see. Agreed, Gall is a great dog. He could be. He could, especially at that price tag on DraftKings as well. I'm on Malott. Got the under 2.5 in a parlay and Malott. I like the under 2.5. Plus 165 under 2.5 on BetMGM. Are you serious? That can't be a real line. If that's a real line, you better hit that. And if that's a real line, I'm going to get back on some BetMGM and get on that. That is off and obviously nuts. Let me know if that's a real line because I got to look into it. I think Malott wins a decision here. I think Malott is going to find it much harder to sub Mickey than these regional bums. 29-28 Malott. Hey, it could happen. Malott isn't winning decision. Gall is a great dog on this card. It could be, but there's just I don't know how people can say like it's a great dog, or even I don't know how people can say Malott is a great play in general because there's just a lot of unknowns in this fight. See, Mickey Gall had Jason Strout helping him as a striking coach this camp. Yep, Gall has been working on the striking, and you can tell his striking has improved much, much better. 2014 was 8 years ago. There you go. Malott wins. Just locked in a fourth of a unit on that plus 8,000. That's a nice sprinkle. Shout out to your boy. And shout out to Eric. If it hits, go hit him up and tell him thank you. I'm sure I'll sprinkle a couple of bucks on that as well. Cody Safdie seemed to have decent trust in his boy Malott. I like it enough to tail a little. Yeah. Looks like Cody was on Malott, and I know Locke, I believe, is on Malott as well. So there you go. All for the upset. Malott is a grappling coach at Alpha. Yeah, his grappling's no joke. All around 1K plus 1,600. There you go. Minus 165. Oh, that's a big difference. Big difference. But still, I like that line. I really do like that line. But yeah, big difference. Darian Weeks, dog of the week. I really hope we can get the Chimaev, Jan, Volk, even money parlay. Yeah, if we do, I mean, I don't think it's worth a shot, right? Like, it's really hard to see either three of them losing. Appreciate that Darsh choked. Went against Gall in his last fight, and he effed me over, so I bet it will happen again. Yeah, he tends to do that quite a bit. Dog of the week, Matson and Torres. Yeah, I don't hate either of them. But we will keep moving on. We have the next fight. We have Raquel Pennington going against Aspen Ladd. And my thing was kind of, wait, sit back, watch the weigh-ins on this one. If Aspen Ladd was out there crying like she typically does, I was probably going to pull the trigger on Pennington, but Aspen Ladd was not crying. She looked really good, probably the best she's ever looked on the scale. So it seems like she has fixed the issue, for now. And if we get a great version of Ladd here, I mean, this could be a very close fight. I gotta go with Pennington. I'm gonna stick with Pennington, but I don't feel great about it on DraftKings. 8,900 is an easy fade for me, especially you can go up a couple hundred more dollars and get guys like Chimaev, Jan, and Volkonovsky. You can go down below, get guys like Malott and Anthony Hernandez. Just easy fade for me on Pennington. But Aspen Ladd, 7,300. Like if she wins, you got to expect takedowns. You got to expect ground and pound control time. Pennington has been taken down before. So, yeah, I mean, if we get the best version of Ladd, last time out, she looked horrendous. I had to turn off that fight, the Dumont Ladd fight. It took Ladd like till the third or fourth round to finally start fighting. I think she landed like a combined like 5 strikes in the first 2 rounds. She looked awful, but she took like a 2-year layoff. She came off some injuries. She was up a weight class, so maybe we got to cut her a little bit of slack, and maybe we do get the old Aspen Ladd back and improved Aspen Ladd. The weight cut looked good. It's a close fight. So I mean, I wish I would have got Pennington. I think last week she's like minus 140, something like that. She's now minus 180. I don't want to touch that. Pennington by decision is probably the most likely outcome, but even that's like minus 130. So not betting on this fight. Want really nothing to do with it. I was going to get involved potentially if Ladd was crying and on the scales and shaking and looking awful and all that good stuff. But no, she looked good. So shout to Aspen Ladd fixing that issue there. And I expect a very competitive fight. Give me Pennington by decision, very competitive, but I'm not touching the minus 180. I'm not touching the 8,900 on DraftKings. If anything, I'd be looking at Aspen Ladd 7,300 on DraftKings, but no bet for me on this fight, but it should be a good one. It definitely should be a good one there. What is up, Rob? How you doing? Good saying Rocky all day. I'm on the Rocky side myself, but not a ton of confidence. The house on Pennington decision. I would not recommend that, but I do think that is the most likely outcome. 100% fade on DraftKings. I agree. Yeah, I just don't really like Pennington there on DraftKings. I like Pennington to win a decision. Not picking her for DraftKings, though, definitely makes sense. Imagine if Pennington makes the optimal lineup and Chimaev doesn't. I'd be shocked. But we've seen crazy stuff happen like that before. I want some Vince. There you go. I'm deep. I'm in deep on Rocky. Well, hopefully you got in early there. I'm not betting this one either way. Can't even do the over 2.5 as it can't finish. It could finish. I think if it does finish, it's probably on the Aspen Lad side, but I think it does go over 2.5, but you're paying a lot of juice for that. Mellon saying Lad 30-27. Return of the King holds Pennington against the cage to a boring decision. 30-27. I don't know. I feel like it could be closer than that, but hey, we'll see. We will see. She looked good on the scales. Pennington, no worries on the short notice. She has good cardio, better striking, better kicks, and better in the clinch. I agree with all those. Jan got the Pennington decision plus 100. You beat the line movement there. I like it. I was actually looking at that plus 100 as well earlier in the week. Ended up passing, but it's like minus 130 now. This one's going the distance. I agree. What is up, Raw Torque? How you doing? Sean in the chat as well. And Mike, I agree. DraftKings Lad is the better play because the higher finish probability, 100%. And Cole is swaying towards Lad as the week goes on. I'm kind of swaying, like my confidence has dropped off a little bit on Pennington as the week goes on, especially after seeing Lad on the skills. So we do have a 217 of you in here. If you all can please smash the like button, also subscribe here to the channel. I am live on the DFS by the Numbers channel and also the MMA Engine channel. I put the link to the MMA Engine channel down below in the description. In the near future, very near future, I'm going to take the show. It's going to go full time on the MMA Engine channel on Friday. So if you're wondering where's the show at, it's going to be on the MMA Engine channel. And again, me and Wheezy dropped a brand new show, Probability, where we went through every single fights, talking about the odds, the probabilities, all the good stuff in terms of the fight goes, doesn't go, other props as well. So very fun show. People seem to like that, and I really like doing it. So go check out, MMA Engine. Lots of good stuff going over there, and go subscribe to that. Do appreciate everybody that does. So if it finishes, I think it's Lad there. Lad to get stuffed and throw 2 strikes per minute. Yeah, she threw like 1 strike a minute her last fight. It was not a good look. Smash the like button. I totally agree. And Rob liking some Vince. There you go. All right. Next fight, we have Ian Gary going against Darian Weeks. We have Gary, who is minus 365, and Darian Weeks, who is plus 290. And I guess the one bet that sticks out is going to be the over 1.5 rounds. And because of, first of all, both guys are very good finishers. We have Weeks, who has a 100% finish rate, and Gary a 76% finish rate. But both guys have never been finished. Gary's never been knocked out, never been subbed. Weeks has never been knocked out, never been subbed. And even in his amateur career, Weeks has a long amateur career. I forget how many fights. It's a lot, though. He's never been knocked out, never been submitted as a pro or amateur. And I think that's like over 10 or over 20 fights. So both guys are tough. I kind of like the over 1.5 minus 170. I'm very tempted on that. Not sure if I'm going to pull the trigger, but I guess that was the one thing that sticks out. I mean, you can't bet Gary at minus 365. I think this fight's going to play out a lot closer than that. And I don't like Gary on DraftKings 9,200 because 100 more, you have Piotr Jan. 200 more, you have Khamzat Chimaev. 300 more, you have Volkonovsky. With that said, you're probably going to get Gary at an ownership discount. So if he does go out there and starch Weeks in the first 60 seconds, couple minutes, maybe he can outscore Volkonovsky, Chimaev, Jan, but I just think it's so unlikely. So I'm not going to get there a lot with Gary. I have a little bit. And then as far as a betting perspective, it's the over 1.5 or pass. I think Weeks is, tough enough, durable enough to, extend this fight. And I actually think Gary wins a decision, but I think it's competitive. Weeks is a good fighter, a very good fighter. There's a lot of things I like to see. I actually like the cardio of Weeks. He came in on short notice against Barberena. He looked pretty good. His cardio seems to check out. His durability seems to check out. He has good wrestling. He has good power. Very well-rounded fighter, but I do think Gary is the goods outside of that strike and defense. I think he needs to shore that up. This guy's very hittable. I did not like what I saw in the Jordan Williams fight. So that could be a problem, but I say Gary wins this. I think it's by decision. I think it's competitive, but I like the over 1.5 if I was to play something. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I don't know. I'm very tempted on it. I'm very, very tempted on it. Weeks on DK, I don't think it's the worst look in the world. He is sitting at 7,000. Takedown upside potentially. But yeah, I got to go Gary here. But minus one, like 365 is crazy. It's crazy. Led by screaming KO. It's on the table. If she screams, the ref tends to stop it. Gary's sub is live. Yeah, Gary's a very good grappler. He only has 1 sub on his record, but I can see a lot of grappling in this fight. So it's live. It's live. Weeks is going to take him down. He's definitely going to try to take him down. Gary looked terrible in his debut, maybe overrated, and Weeks may steal this one. Yeah, I had a big bet on Gary against Jordan Williams, and I felt terrible about the bet. every single second of that fight up until the knockout. So I was like, oh, what a relief. I just bet, a big amount on that guy, and he looked horrible. Looked horrible. Gary's much taller. Yes, he is. Week's dog of the week on DraftKings could be. I like him as a dog on DraftKings. I really like the sub prop. Yeah, Gary by sub is, I see, plus 700. It could happen. Anything can happen. But I'm more so leaning towards decision. Yeah, Weeks is very tough. Very tough. Gary looked way bigger, but can't be too confident. And yeah, it's a striking defense for me. Gary is good for dodging the chalk. Yeah, if you want to get different, Gary's your dude. But like, I'd be surprised, like, if he surpassed like Chimaev, Jan, or Volk in DraftKings points. But it could happen. Gary was in trouble. Yeah, I was not liking what I was seeing. It should be this is a fight to be uncertain about, most likely a decision, but who knows? But Gary sub live could be. Weeks' cheeks is getting clapped. I don't know, maybe. Brady talking over is in this fight surprised me. Talking over, yeah, I never talk overs, right? Ever. I'm an under guy. I'm a fight doesn't go guy, but the over does. It kind of sticks out. Weigh-ins caused you any changes? Not really. I mean, Julio Arce looked bad. Kay Hansen missed weight, but she looked fine. But I questioned motivation, and then I thought Fremd looked like huge. He's like 6'4", towering over Hernandez. And then I thought Jared Vandera just didn't look prepared for the fight, which he's coming in on short notice, so rightfully so. But that's about it. Nothing really else stuck out. Aspen Ladd was a big one. Aspen Ladd passed the eye test, so nothing really crazy. Brady, you're going to need a new GFC jacket soon. Good looking, brother. Yeah, I mean, a lot of clothes do not fit me now, and this is even getting big, which kind of sucks, but I like it. I like it. Please answer me. When is the Olynyk fight? When is the Olynyk fight? The Olynyk fight is tomorrow. RC's getting slept. Maybe. Vandera looks like Homer Simpson. He really does. DraftKings is offering plus 3,500 on Sterling to win again by DQ. That line is insane ripoff. I hope nobody's betting that. I hope not. Brady, I'm betting your parlay this week is Kamzat Jan Volkonovsky, right? No, sir. But if you want to parlay that, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. You're not getting plus money on most books, but I think it hits. But not something I would do. Let's move on. We have the next fight. We have Mackenzie Dern going against Attisha Torres. And yeah, this is a coin flip for me. I mean, this can go either way. Do you have Torres, stuffing the takedowns, keeping on the feet, outpointing Mackenzie Dern for 3 rounds, winning a decision? Or do you have Dern getting it down to the mat and submitting Attisha Torres? Again, flip a coin. It's really hard to have confidence on this fight. I guess I'm on the Torres side slightly. There's no way ever I would bet this fight. If anything, I was looking at the fight goes to decision. And earlier in the week, I was actually looking at the finish only for Mackenzie Dern. I talked about it on Stat Diggers with Uncle Weezy on Sunday. They had the finish only for Dern at minus 225. I actually went to bet it, and it was minus 280. So I would have had a bet on this fight, but that line got smashed right before I was going to bet it. So I just ended up passing. Again, flip a coin. Does Dern get the takedown? If so, she probably wins by sub. If not, she loses the decision. Hard to be confident either way. Not really playing this fight on DK. If anything, it's got to be Dern for the submission upside. Torres, a 14% finish rate. One of those finishes being a cut stoppage against a quitting Sam Hughes. But I'll go Torres here, but zero confidence. If you like Dern, I'd play the sub plus 175, plus 200. If you like Torres, I'd play the decision plus 135 around there. But I'm personally going to have $0 on this fight, and I'm very happy about that. I'm very, very happy about that. I have $0 on this fight, and that feels phenomenal to say. I hate betting on fights like these. So Torres for the win, but no bet for me, and it feels good. It feels very good. What is up, Josh? How you doing? What do you think about Chimaev and Burns going into 1.5 rounds? I think it goes under. Burns or Chimaev's never been over, so I like the under in that fight. The kids' groceries on Torres by decision. I think that's probably the most likely scenario. Rob like in the tornado. Dern couldn't take down a 5-year-old kid. That is true. Yeah, like a 10% takedown accuracy for Dern. 115 always got fire matchups. I think Attisha stays off her back and edges out a decision. I think so as well, but it can go either way, right? Torres pushes the pace and wins a decision. Just parlay a simple 1,000 fun parlay, dude. It's not my style. Torres first round triangle off bottom after Dern drops her on the feet. If that happens, Melon, I will give you $1,000. 1,000, which is the biggest amount I've ever said. So we'll see if you can get that right. Fake accent, yeah. I like Torres. Just play a $5 parlay, take a chance. I got you, Rob. What happened to Sosa and Jacket? Yeah, they used to always have beef. But looks like, I don't know. I haven't seen Sosa in a while, like months. So I don't know if they have beef or not anymore. Torres wins by flying elbow. I don't think so. What do you think of Ladd? I think she has a chance. She looked good at the weigh-ins. I'll give her that. It's a close fight. General taking notes. All right, we'll move on. We're at about 45 minutes. We're doing very good on time. We have 3 fights to talk about, the 3 best fights on the card, including my favorite fight in the card and my biggest bet of the night. So I was talking about earlier, I researched only 3 fights last week. Wanted to kind of take the week off, keep it light. Chimaev and Burns was absolutely one I had to tape, especially considering I saw they had the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 190. I was shocked. I was expecting it was going to be like minus 300 or like minus 400, like where the Fremd Hernandez or Oleinik fight is. Like they're around like minus 400, right? Like why shouldn't this fight be around minus 400? So I saw it at minus 190. I went and taped it, and I really liked the minus 190. I thought that was off by a mile. And as you can see throughout the last week and a half, 2 weeks, it has been smashed all the way to minus 300, which seems about right. Could even be wider, honestly. The reason being is I think Chimaev starches Burns in the first round. I think he knocks him out early on. And Chimaev's never been over 1.5 rounds. I just don't see, like, stylistically. I know it's a step up in competition for Chimaev. I know he's fought guys like John Phillips, Reese McKee, the Leech, guys like that. Just stylistically, how does Burns win this fight? Like, is Burns going to knock out Chimaev on the feet? I don't really think so. Is Burns going to submit Chimaev off his back? I don't think so. Is Burns going to take down Chimaev? I really don't think so. So I think Chimaev knocks out Burns at some point, whether it's on the feet, whether it's a TKO. I don't see this fight getting extended. I would like to see the fight get well, I would not like to see it because of my bet, but I would eventually like to see Chimaev get extended. What's his cardio like outside the first round and a half? We've never seen it, but this is a fight where I don't think we see that. So I have 2.5 units on the fight. Doesn't go to decision, minus 190, my biggest bet of the night. I'm kind of kicking myself for not going heavier on that. I really like that spot, but 2.5 units. And what I also did was I added a unit on the fight not starting round 3 at minus 145. So I have 3.5 units on this fight. It's going to make or break my night. If this fight goes to decision, probably a losing night. If it ends in the first round, like I think, probably going to be a good night. So I like violence here. I like violence a lot. I wish I would have went heavier on the fight as a good decision. Not like a max bet or anything, but maybe like 3.5 units on it. But I think this fight does finish more often than not. So give me a Chimaev first round KO. If you got it on the Chimaev KO prop, we talked about it on Stat Diggers a ton. Chimaev KO was plus 165 at the time. That's now like plus 100 if you got in early. I think that's a solid look, but as of now, I don't really like the minus 110 or whatever it's at for the Chimaev KO. But yeah, plus 165 was nice. As far as DraftKings goes, Chimaev is my highest owned fighter. I have a ton of Chimaev. I think I have like 70%, something like that. 65, 70% of Chimaev. I really like him in this spot. I think he wins in the first round. So looking forward to it. Favorite fight in the card. Looking forward to seeing if Chimaev can pass this big step up in competition. But I love this fight. Absolutely love it. Love Burns, but I'm sorry, brother. Yeah, it's a tough matchup. This puts Ren on Torres by decision. I would not put your Ren on a fight, especially a Torres fight, man. Sub Brady in the general. What is up, Brian? How you doing? You see a Torres head kick finish. I think she has the best chance for a finish in this fight, given it's one of the smaller opponents she's faced. I would be surprised, but anything can happen. Anything can happen in MMA. I might play Torres and Gall. They're both decent dogs, right? Parlayed the under 1.5 here with all the over 2.5s on the chick fights and the Madsen over 2.5. I think you'll hit a couple of those. Anyone betting against Hansen, I will not be putting $1 on that fight. I love violence a lot too. Yeah, violence in this spot is really good. I like the minus 225 on Burns crying after being KO'd. Might be a good look. It's minus 225, maybe parlayable. Smash under 1.5. Yeah, I think the under 1.5 is solid. I don't play 1.5s under 1.5s often, but I think it's solid. I did take the fight. Won't start round 3 to be a little bit safer, but I like it. DK smash KO and under. Yeah, believe it or not, that line was plus 275 on like Sunday or Monday, plus 275, and it got smashed all week. But yeah, still plus 215. I mean, that's really solid, right? What is up, Robert? How you doing? Not a popular pick, but I bet Gilbert Burns around 1 sub. Yeah, it's not a popular pick at all, but if you hit that, that's going to be a huge, huge hit. So we'll see. I'm with you, Brady. There you go. And he is huge, the much bigger fighter. Burns probably just quits. If Chimaev's on top of him, raining down ground and pound, the fight's going to get stopped, right? I really like violence. Again, I'm kicking myself for not going heavier on that minus 190. It just did not make sense. Plus 5,000. Is that like a serious line, or are you just making that up? Like plus 5,000 for Burns to cry? I don't know. Parlay Aljo and Burns both to cry after they lost. Oh my goodness. Nothing wrong with the little sprinkle. Nothing's wrong with the sprinkle. Yeah, I agree. Nothing's wrong with the sprinkle. I got an early line on the fight ends at KO. My goodness, Pete. Yeah, plus 220. We talked about that as well on Stat Diggers. They had the fight ends in KO at plus 120. And I really liked that. But yeah, plus 220, my goodness, you have a great line there. Great line. Which dog scores more, Aljo or Jung? I say Aljo. This is going to be like Gaethje Chandler and go to decision. Yeah, that was absolutely wild, but I sure hope not. What book does he search? I know Bovada does like some crazy ones, but I've never heard of like a crying fighter for plus 5,000. That's crazy. Thomas saying the fight doesn't start round 3 minus 150. Yeah, I got it right around there, minus 150. Burns or Chimaev's never been over 1.5. Get the extra half a round to feel a little bit better about it, right? So yeah, minus 150. I don't hate that at all. I'm actually shocked that the fight isn't good decisions, not like minus 400, and maybe he gets there by fight time. Brady, why is everybody sleeping on Santos? I love him on DK or Weeks. I have plenty of both. I think you have to have plenty of both when you're going up and playing Volkonovsky, Jan, and Chimaev. So I have a good amount of both guys. I don't know. You look like FaZe Nikon. I don't know who that is, but hopefully that is a compliment. I'll have to go check him out. Burns by split decision. I bet you'll get like 20 to 1 on that. Comes up by sub. I think KO's likely, and the sub prop is only like plus 350. Chimaev's card hasn't been tested. It's been tested like a couple minutes outside of round 1, but yeah, you're right. It hasn't been tested much, but I don't think it changes here. That's the only thing. But we have the co-main event. We have Aljamain Sterling going against Piotr Jan, and this is going to close out my parlay. People always get very mad when I say I don't do parlays, but here you go. This one is for you guys. I have the over 2.5 rounds, minus 250, parlayed with the under 2.5 rounds in the Fremd Hernandez fight, minus 120, 1.2 units on it. I like both those spots. I think this fight goes over. I was going to parlay the over 1.5 to be a little bit safer, but did not get the best odds on that, and it got smashed. Waited a little bit too long. So I got the over. I think this does go over. I think it does get extended. I think it does, could even go to decision, but I kind of think Jan's live for a late stoppage. But yeah, I think it's going to be a competitive fight early. I think the line on Jan is, insane. Minus 470. Like, that's pretty wild. Like, if you like Jan, why not just wait till he loses the first round and then bet him live? There's a very good chance he does lose the first round. You go back and watch the last fight. The first round was very close. I scored it for Jan because he did drop Aljamain Sterling. If he didn't drop him, Sterling would have won the round. And then the second round was very close. Sterling outlanded him. And I kind of see the same thing. I think, the first couple rounds are going to be competitive. I think Jan starts to take over. I think Sterling starts to slow down. Jan, I think could get a late finish or just win rounds 3, 4, and 5. I think rounds 1 and 2 are going to be very competitive. But I think like Jan fashion, he's going to get it better as the fight goes on. More volume as the fight goes on, mixing some takedowns. I think Jan wins this fight, either a decision or like a round 4 or 5 stoppage here. But yeah, I like the over 2.5. I don't mind the over 3.5. The over 4.5 is pushing it a little bit because, like I said, I think Jan's live for that late finish. So overs 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. I would not touch, but I like the first 3 overs there. So in DraftKings, a ton of Jan for me. I believe he's my second highest owned fighter. And for cash, I am stacking this fight. I think it is a must to stack this fight. Sterling scored a ton in his DQ loss. Even without the DQ, he still scored like 60 points, something crazy like that. So I think Sterling can put up a big score in a loss that is safe for cash. But again, this is cash only. In tournaments, I would not stack this fight. But yeah, I think the winner scores very, very well. And I think the winner's Petr Yan, minus 470s whack. If you like Yan, I'd wait for the second round or the third round. I can almost guarantee you probably get a better price, right? Minus 470 is crazy, especially considering he did close at like plus 100 on some books to last fight. But yep, got to go Yan. Yan to win by like also the 4-5 decision is not the worst look in the world. I think FanDuel has it like plus 170, plus 180, or minus 170, minus 180. I think that's better than the minus 470. So give me Yan though. I think Yan gets it done late or decision. Cannot wait for this fight. Thomas going the other way. He's on the under 4.5 plus 135. I don't know. I think it could be close. I can see a Yan late finish, but I don't know. We'll see. Sterling in a loose straight up is going to lose straight up or a loss. Sterling going to start slower for this 100%. Yeah, he's got to. He came in with a horrendous game plan last time. Tempted to go Burns round 2 for 22-1. Interesting. I know Uncle Weezy was talking about like a Burns round 3 was like something crazy as well. Over 4.5 for me. I also drunkenly bet Aljo by round 2 sub. There you go. That'd be a crazy hit. Aljo by knee to the face disqualification. Never know. You never know. Yan by decision. I took the Yan 2, 3, 4 round props. He will get it done. Get that 5 as well. I got to get that 5 as well. Yeah, I was looking at the 4-5 decision, the 4-5 sprinkles, but like they're not like good odds at all. I mean, they're all over it. So it wasn't worth for me to sprinkle them, but I think they're live. Remembered Vince wins. Well, if he wins, hopefully it's in that third round. Balancing Aljo 49-46, and still Petr did so good in the last fight because it was in the small cage. Big cage favors Aljo, jabs his way to decision. So you think Aljo by decision, which is sitting at plus 600 Melon. There you go. I put $25 on a draw. That's a big hit if it hits. That's a big hit. I'll put like $5 on it. I'm not going to go 25, but yeah, that's a big hit if it hits. $50 free pay on Aljo. Yeah, you're getting good odds. I mean, I'd rather bet that than bet the minus 470, but I'm going to look at it from a live betting standpoint. I'm not laying minus 470 on Yan, but if I can get him, I don't know, minus 200, minus 250, around that range after round 2, why not? James saying, talk too fast. Well, I got to. I'm trying to get this done in an hour. So kind of on a time crunch. I got some errands to run. I'm going to be on a show tonight with Narco Cop on the Lambo show, and I got to go to the grocery store. So yes, I am talking fast. James, thank you for hanging out. Main event. Alexander Volkonovsky, Korean Zombie. Not much to say here. I mean, how does Zombie win this fight? I think it's a knockout. If you like Zombie, play the knockout plus 900. I saw on FanDuel like plus 1,100, plus 1,200. If you like Zombie, play him that way. Volkonovsky, I think he has him covered everywhere. I think he's going to be the minute winner. It's just a very tough fight for Zombie. I kind of wanted to see the Holloway 3 fight. I know people were kind of crapping on that fight, but I wanted to see it. I mean, the first fight, Volkonovsky clearly won. The second fight, I had a max bet on Volkonovsky. I thought Holloway won, but it was very close. So I wanted to see the third. So hopefully we see that soon, but I think Volkanovsky wins here, and I think this fight does actually end inside the distance. Like, the more you think about this fight, right? Like, how is Zombie going to come in here and attack this fight on somewhat short notice? Is he going to be prepared to go through a 5-round war? Is he going to come out here and try to finish Volkonovsky within the first round and a half, 2 rounds? I think he's going to go to war with Volkonovsky. Most Zombie fights are wars. Both these guys hit very, very hard. Both these guys have been knocked out. The Korean Zombie's been knocked out 3 times in his career as well. I think the fight ends in KO is a very solid look. I do have a bet on it. It was plus 200 earlier in the week. Missed out on the plus 200, but plus 180. I have a half unit on that, and I was tempted on adding the fight doesn't go to decision at about plus money. So me and Weezy, we talked on our show last night, the probability show, and like all signs are pointing towards this fight having a very good chance of finishing. Both guys, great finishers. We've got a 5-round fight. It's going to be an absolute war. Like it could happen, but it's really hard to see either of these guys lasting in a absolute brawl for 25 minutes. And I think Volkonovsky puts out the Korean Zombie at some point in this fight. I'm kind of thinking rounds 3, 4, and 5. I know Volkanovski's talking about finishing him in the first 3 rounds. I think it gets extended a little bit, but I think someone gets knocked out here. And what I like about that fight ends in KO prop is it covers both sides. Like if Zombie wins, it's going to be by KO. If Volkanovski wins, it's I think the most likely scenario is decision, but you can't really play that. Like decision minus 145, there's no value on that. I think rooting for violence is probably the way to go. So fight ends in KO. My final bet of the night was tempted on adding some more in the fight. Doesn't go decision. I think I'm just going to let it roll though. But it should be a fun fight regardless. I'm really looking forward to it. A couple more comments and then we'll head out of here. What is up, Noah? Zombie has 0 chance. Everybody has a chance. Everybody has a chance. So that is not true, but I say it's a very small chance. Can you remember a card with such heavy favorites at the top? Nah, I mean, it's probably happened before, but not off the top of my head. But yeah, big favorites. Mark Madsen, the dog of the card. He could be. I like him on Draftkings, so I hope you're right. Good opportunity for Volk to make a new highlight. The Korean Zombie not going to go out bad, though. Hoping for it's going to be a scrap, man. It's going to be an absolute war, but I think it does finish inside the distance. Volk inside the distance, plus 175. Yeah, it's not terrible. I see plus 160. Yeah, I think he finishes, but I think it's more likely KO. I know the KO was like plus 240 earlier, but that got kind of smashed. We are on all the same spots, well, hopefully that is a good thing. Holloway's daddy gets a second round TKO, and still, I hope you're right. Then I'll hit my bet. Fight doesn't go decision, plus 120. The Korean Zombie early or Volk later. That's kind of how I see it as well. When Korean Zombie wins, it's typically in those first couple rounds. Besides the Dan Ige fight. Thanks again, Brady. You're the man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you a lot. We got Uncle Weezy. Nice work, my man. Let's stack him high tomorrow. Yes, sir. That is always the goal, Uncle Weezy. Speaking of Uncle Weezy, me, Uncle Weezy, Narco Cop, and Eric Betts fights are going to be live 1 hour prior to the prelims. I believe they were supposed to kick off at 6 Eastern. They are moving the fights back 30 minutes. It's a big card. I guess we'll go live around like an hour 15 before the prelims, something like that. So come tune in. Again, we are streaming live on the DFS by the Numbers channel and the MMA Engine channel. If you guys haven't already, go subscribe over to the MMA Engine. Tons of content over there. We added a new banger of a show, which I really believe this new show can be the next big thing. I love doing it. People seem to love it. We're going to keep continuing to work on the graphics for it as well, but the analysis I loved. It's a show that I really love doing because I love overs. I love unders, but I love like these props. I love the fight doesn't go to decision props, and that's all we talk about. And we look at it from a different perspective than just breaking down the fight like fighter A, fighter B. We look at it from a data standpoint, which is freaking phenomenal. So if you have not checked out that show, Probability, check it out. It's the next big thing. I really do believe that. And Mushroom saying, see on the Lambo plays. Yes, sir. Headed to the grocery store. Got to pick up some chicken. And then hopefully eat some dinner and then be ready by 10 o'clock. Got to look into the Lambo show a little bit. That show is so much fun. We have Clint on there tonight. We have Tim and Narco. It's going to be a crazy show tonight. Come check us out, Narco Cops channel. Going to be a very, very fun one. Looking forward to that. And thank you, Cameron. New show. Yeah, I got a lot of great feedback on it. I really did. So had Thomas saying he likes the new show. Yeah, thank you guys. Great show. Appreciate that, Melon. Brady, you could be the light heavyweight champ after this weight cut. Yeah, I went from a heavyweight to a light heavyweight, down 82 pounds. The goal was to get to 100 by May 5th. And I'll be close. I'll be getting close. So yeah, hard work does pay off, guys. Work hard with everything you do. Best of luck. Let's win some money. And we'll talk to you all very soon. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. Let us make some money and let us keep the good year going. See you guys.